Hey guys, this is Squirtly. I'm doing another deck profile here. This is going to be my Royal Paladin deck. I just recently finished it, since the cards sort of just recently came out for it. Or at least one of the cards did. But, so yeah, here's going to be my profile on the Jewel Knight deck. Excuse me. This is my personal build of it. It's probably a little different in a couple places from most people's, but Jewel Knights sort of have one sort of thing to follow right now that they can't really deviate too much from. But anyway, here it is. My starter is the Dreaming Jewel Knight Tiffany. You can put her into Soul to give two of your Jewel Knights, two of your rear guards with Jewel Knight in their name, plus 3,000 for the turn. So it's basically the same as your put into Soul for plus 3,000 cards, except better because you can give it to two cards instead of just one. And she's really nice when you're going to replace her anyway. You can just shove her into Soul, power to 2 columns, and good stuff happens. And you're probably going to be replacing her pretty quickly anyway once you draw into a Marin. So, yeah. We have 4 Pure Heart Jewel Knight Ashley. She is the Jewel Knight Royal Paladin Break Ride. She has what is generally considered, let's see if I can get it to focus. There we go. She has what's generally considered one of the worst break ride skills in the game. Plus 10, plus 1 crit, and that's it. But she has beautiful artwork. She's getting a cross ride pretty soon, July, I believe. For English, she's got one in Japan already. The Ashley Reverse. But run 4 of her because the critical actually matters a lot. And, I mean, even in normal play, just break riding her over herself gets really threatening really quick just because it's a crit and it's plus 10,000 power regardless. So, the extra power helps. You're pretty much forcing out either perfect guards or a lot of shield. I run 3 of the Fearless Jewel Knight Julia. This is a promo that recently came out. She has a when she attacks a Vanguard, she gets plus 3,000. So she can swing at cross rides unboosted, or she makes a 21k column with Marin. Her limit break is the best part about her though, other than the fact that she looks like Miku. But her limit break is counterblast 2 at the end of the battle she attacks, not when she attacks, but after the battle. You counterblast 2, and for every critical she has, you search your deck for a Jewel Knight and call it to rearguard. Meaning, if you just attack and use it, you grab a unit out of your deck for counterblast 2. After her attack, meaning you can replace something that's already attacked and get another attack. If you have more criticals from critical triggers or the break ride, which is another reason I run 4 of the break ride. That's a free critical toward her, and another free unit to call. You just get more units. And you can end up getting like 4 or 5 attacks in a turn, which over time really wears down your opponent. So last we have 1 leading Jewel Knight Salome. She's the Jewel Knight she's the old Jewel Knight boss from set 10. I still run 1 of her because she's pretty good. Once you run out of counterblasts for Julia's limit break, you can ride into her. You're swinging crit. You're swinging 12, which is kind of mediocre to be honest, but she can at least pressure with crits. If your opponent's at 5, there's no real reason to ride her. But yeah, she is there at least for for something. And I mean, worst case scenario, call her to rear guard. I mean, that's really not a bad thing in the first place. Other than the fact that she can't intercept. But since Jewel Knights don't get a 10k vanilla, we can't really say much about that. Yeah, I run 4 of the Fellowship Jewel Knight Tracy. This is the 12k attacker for Jewel Knight, except she's not really your typical 12k attacker. To become 12, you have to have 3 or more other Jewel Knight rear guards, meaning 4 Jewel Knight rear guards in total, which Julia can make that happen pretty easily. So once you've got Julia out, these get really good. Otherwise, you sort of have to draw into what you need. But, yeah, these are going to be your good rear guards after you hit Julia. Before you hit Julia, your other 7 grade 2s are the better ones, in my opinion. I run 3 Dogmatized Jewel Knight Sybil. When you call her, you can counterblast 2 to search your deck for a grade 1 or less Jewel Knight and call it to rear guard. She's good, not only because she gets a free call, I mean, counterblast 2, but still, she gets a card from your deck. So she does thin it of non-triggers, and she also doesn't need to counterblast Jewel Knights. So any non-Jewel Knights that get into my damage, I can counterblast with her, and then I don't have to worry about, say, Salome not being able to counterblast them. Now, given Julia does not require Jewel Knight counterblasts, but if for some reason I do end up writing Salome, she can only counterblast Jewel Knights. So, she can get rid of the non-Jewel Knight counterblast to call units, similar to what Salome does. She just can only call grade 1 or lower. But I mean, she gets you a free column. You call her, you get the second card. I mean, I keep saying free, but it's counterblast cost. You don't lose any advantage doing it. You gain advantage. I run 4 10k vanillas. 2 of the Galatine and 2 Lamorak. I wish I had more Lamorak, but I only have 2. So, yeah, 4 10k vanillas. You want to ride one of them, and you can use them as your good rear guards until you have a full field of Jewel Knights ready to go. And they make 18k columns pretty easily, given the Jewel Knights do as well, but they make them without requiring a bunch of Jewel Knights. Grade 1s, we got 4 Jewel Knight Assault. The Jewel Knight Perfect Guard. Pretty self-explanatory there. We have 4 of the Stinging Jewel Knight Shelly. This is your 10k attacker for Jewel Knights with the same requirement as the grade 2. You gotta have 3 or more other Jewel Knight rear guards. So once again, start bringing these out. You can really bring them out anytime, unless your opponent's going to retire them, because they're back row. But you want to bring those out with your Tracy's to start getting off the 19k columns, just getting your 12k attackers going, stuff like that. Even if you don't have the full field of Jewel Knights, her boosting the Tracy is a 16k column, so that's pretty nice. Run 3 Marin. They are great to drop behind your Vanguard, really, to let Ashley and Julia swing for 21,000. That's the best place for them to go. You want to ride one, and really you want to, if you need to, you can call them behind your 10k vanillas for an 18k column. So yeah, I mean, there's only 3, but you ride one, call one behind Vanguard. That's, yeah, ride one, call one behind Vanguard, and the third one's somewhere. Probably ditch it for a perfect guard or something, or ditch it for Prismy. Prismy's skill, he's a 7,000. When you call him to rear guard, if you have 3 or more other Jewel Knight rear guards, then you can ditch a card to draw a card. So he lets you recycle cards in your hand. Extra Julias, Salome, if you don't need her, anything like that. So now for triggers, let me focus back in on the mat here. For triggers, we run 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 critical triggers. Which I'm pretty sure... no, I don't run Liu. Royal Paladins only have 4 crits. I run 3 of them. So yeah, 12 crit, because it lets you plus a hell of a lot more off of Julia. And if you double trigger somebody, you pretty much just destroyed them. So, plus, the deck really, in all honesty, does not need draws, because you can call so much, especially with Julia. You really don't need the draw triggers. Criticals pressure your opponent a lot more, and you still retain all the advantage that you need. I mean, this deck with 12 crits, grade locked at 2 can handle Dodie fine once you hit 3. I mean, it really doesn't need the draw power. And then 4 heal triggers, because heals are good. So those are the Jewel Knight heals, of course. I run 4 of the Jewel Knight crit to get as many Jewel Knights as possible. Having the non-Jewel Knight crits kind of does help, or kind of does hurt your counterblasting. But once again, now that Julia's out, Salome, there's only one card in the whole deck that requires Jewel Knight counterblasts. If you were running a more Salome heavy deck, then that would be a problem. You'd probably want to run draws. But Julia calls so much and can just get stuff so well. You don't need the draws in this deck. So real quick, I'll show you sort of what you're going to want to be happening here. Now this is completely like best case scenario or something, like what you had going on. I said this is what you had going on early game. Sorry, some of these are getting a little cut out of the picture here. Like if this is what you got going, you just hit 4 damage, so you're ready to limit break. What you're going to do is you're going to go in, you are going to break ride into Julia. You got your +10 plus crit, and you are ready to go. So now, if you don't know how many crits you're going to hit, which there's really no way for you to tell, considering you're already at 2 crit, you might as well, you can swing with a column, and you're guaranteed able to replace this column and swing more. If you want to, you can swing unboosted at like one of the rear guards or something, and then swing with a full column if you think you can hit 1 crit trigger or something. Which you sort of just have to base that off what you're feeling, how many triggers you've hit already, stuff like that. I mean, for this scenario, we'll say we're against an 11k Vanguard. We're going to swing at their Vanguard for 17. We're going to swing at their Vanguard for 18. That's already 20,000 shield out of them. Now we're going to swing at them for 31 with 2 critical. She's 13, 23 from the break ride, and got an 8k booster. So it's 31 with 2 critical. They got to guard that. That's another good 40,000, or I'm sorry, 30,000 shield out of them to 2 pass you. So, I mean, they've dropped 50,000 already, unless they perfect guard you. And then you just come in and you're like, first check, like, critical power, I guess. Send it 2 to pass you. You're going crit power. And crit power. A lot of times I'll leave, like, one of these, I won't boost with it, so that I can give crits here, and then power here. But I mean, at the end of the attack, you just gotta counterblast 2. And suddenly, you're at 4 critical. So you're calling in that, this, and this. And now, I mean, obviously you wouldn't need to call over that if you if you didn't boost with it, but now you're swinging for another 19 here, and another 19 there. So, I mean, that's a pretty nice break ride turn. I mean, any turn after that, if you still have 2 counterblasts, you swing, whatever criticals you hit, you call that many +1 units. So, I mean, there's really no downside to her whatsoever. She's a very good card that can keep your advantage going and just consistently pull out cards, get you multiple attacks per turn, stuff like that. So, I'm nearing the time limit here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll have some more deck profiles up soon. I say that every time and it never happens, but hopefully I'll have some up soon.